My name is Bruno Correia. I work at EPFL and we work on protein engineering and vaccine design. So in our group, we work in modifying proteins, which are the molecules that govern life, and we use computational tools to do so. And by doing that way, we can actually engineer these proteins and modify them so that we can then use them for purposes as vaccine engineering. The scientific environment in Switzerland is fantastic to do any type of research really, but particularly for our research is fantastic because we have many conditions to do so here in Switzerland. However, it is true that we would like to see a little bit more acceptance of vaccines in the general public. The next step for my project will be to take some of these concepts and some of these molecules that we designed to the next level. And to the next level will mean towards a translational aspect and understanding if in fact these molecules can be used in real vaccines to be used out there in the real world. Something that is very important for our research is the way that we visualize molecules. And so the tool that we use on a daily basis for everything we do is this perception on how we describe these proteins that I've told you about, and where each atom is and how we actually change those atoms. And we do so by using very advanced computational techniques.
Ciao, I'm Stanislav Raspopovic, biomedical engineer from ETH Zurich. My research focuses on human-machine interfacing, and particularly we are trying to interface the human nervous system after the neurological disability with different rehab machines. My research consists in understanding very deeply the human nervous system and the way to connect it with artificial devices. So we are constructing the sensorized insole and knee encoders to place over the prosthetic device and then connecting those artificial signals to the implanted neural interface with residual nervous system of amputees or diabetic patients. Through smart algorithms, we are able to translate this artificial language to the natural language of the nerves. And then the nature does the rest. The signal is conveyed from the peripheral nervous system to the spinal cord until the brain of the user, who is able to adapt to this artificial signal and to work correctly with artificial devices. So one of the objects that symbolize our research is such an intermediate prototype where we have a sensorized insole that we developed together with a system for the transmission of information, which at its turn is communicating with the artificial implants in a residual nervous system of humans. And indeed, some prototype like this was standing in the middle of our experimental room for years of our research. I am very honored to receive such a prestigious prize, and I deeply hope that it's gonna help us at least threefold to raise the awareness about these disability problems, engaging stakeholders as industry or financing means, together with a new generation of neuroengineers that are willing to engage their talent and energy in order to develop the neuroengineering rehabilitation solution. Last but not the least, we hope to help to the end users and to engage them into the process of development of new devices for the better future.
My name is Annick Vallot. My research focuses on the counterterrorism efforts led by the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and one of its founding members, Russia, and especially on the paradoxical implications of these efforts for civil society. The purpose of my research was to focus on the nexus between the three evils doctrine, that is terrorism, extremism, and separatism of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization from a political, ideological, legal, and judicial angle. My research also aimed at shedding light on the paradox of perceiving civil society both as an actor of the prevention of terrorist ideologies and the potential target of anti-terrorism policies. As a result, it emphasized the alarming and tragic consequences of interpreting terrorism as an ideology of violence, which opens the door to more repressive state measures such as the arbitrary incarceration of political opponents and religious minorities. During field inquiries in Russia and Central Asia, I investigated both state-led NGOs engaged in the prevention of the ideology of terrorism and civil dissent groups stemming from the state repression of terrorism. To collect sensitive data, I conducted over 100 interviews with opposing actors, such as members of patriotic and military organizations, anti-torture activists, detainees, and their relatives. My inquiries formed the backbone of my research. They confirmed my theories and gave a highly original edge to my analysis. I dedicated my research to a convict who was unjustly sentenced to 24 years in prison for terrorism. And I hope the Latsis Prize will help me raise awareness about torture and police violence in Russia. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Latsis Foundation and everybody who supported me in this journey.
Hello, I'm Matthias Weber. I work at the University of Saint-Gall. And in a few words, my research is about finding out how individuals make their economic and financial decisions, and then also to find out how these individual decisions lead to aggregate economic variables such as, for example, inflation, unemployment, or asset prices. And then further, I find out what policies are optimal given such economic behavior. I use different methodologies, such as controlled laboratory experimentation, theoretical modeling, and also analysis of observational field data to find out how people make their decisions in economic and financial life. For example, how do people form expectations about prices in the future? How do people decide whether to participate in the labor market or not? Or how do people make their financial investment decisions? These individual decisions can then be aggregated to know something about aggregate economic variables such as inflation, unemployment, or asset prices. Now, if we have both, if we have the individual decisions and the aggregate behavior, we can say something about which policies are better and which are worse. I view this as reassurance that my research so far is on a good way, and also as encouragement to go further with research in that direction in the future.